It's a new day and a new guitar project. I had so much fun doing the telly that I decided I would do a $79 Strat. So here it is. Bought this one off Amazon. Paid a little extra because I wanted the maple neck. So let's go for it. See what we got here. Oh, nice maple neck. All pre-drilled. Look at that. Okay. It's probably electronics. Yep, it's electronics. Body. Ooh, ah. Alright. Drilled all the holes on this one. So this is supposed to be basswood, but that's not basswood. I think that's palowina, or however you say it. That is not basswood. But hey, it'd be fun. $79 Strat. So plan is to make it lime green or metallic green with a maple neck. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, so the first thing I always want to do is kind of check the neck straightness and then check the fret level, and I just threw my gauge on here and you can see, I mean, I'm that far off on one side when I push on the other end, which means we have a heck of a crown to it. So I've got the wrench in here and I'll adjust this a little bit and then go from there. Okay, so after a couple of turns of this, our neck is now completely flat without rocking. No gaps anywhere. And then more importantly, you run this over, which I've already done all the way across. There's no gaps or anything on the actual frets or the fretboard. Now, one thing I've noticed is this is really isn't a Strat shape to the headstock. The head, you know, it came pre-cut like this, but usually it, you know, the Strats have a, you know, big bulge here, but yeah, whatever. I also had to file the end of the Allen wrench so it would fit in here. Couple other things, like these dots have some stuff on them, and this one's, I don't know if it's sunk in or what. So you know, the sanding finish is pretty nice, and this wood I think is a little bit harder than the basswood that I built the Telecaster out of, but they must figure you're going to paint this guitar because this is like wood filler or something here. And this palowina wood looks like it chunks a little bit more when they router it. But this one's much more finished than the telly body was. The telly body wood was just a hunk of wood, and this thing's, you know, it's got the arm cut and the tummy cut on the other side. Although they need some refining a little bit, but you know, they're there. The whole thing feels like it's sanded to like a 220-ish. But you know, there's a lot of cleanup needs to happen in all the pockets and stuff, which I'm going to coat this thing in some high build primer, which I wish I wouldn't have drilled the screw holes already, but I'm going to coat it in some high build primer and block it, you know, so it got a good surface to put paint on. I've got some leftover automotive paint from a couple hot rod projects I think I'm going to use on this one, especially since, you know, we got wood filler and glue and stuff here I still got to sand on yet. But yeah, other things of this kit, the tuners are awful. I mean, just absolute awful. So I'll buy some more locking tuners. These ones are even wigglier than the last ones I got. I noticed the pit guard, you know, it's preloaded and they've done it non-solder, which is cool, and it's an 11 hole, but there's a bunch of imperfections on the actual fingerboard itself, and you know, the edges are, you know, are kind of chunked out and that kind of stuff. So I think I'll just buy, these things are so cheap, I think I want a pearl one anyway. I think I'll just buy a new pearl one and go from there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put some strap locks on it and some locking tuners, and obviously better strings than what comes in the kit. Learned that lesson already, and yeah, I'll show you what it looks like along the way. Alright, so it's a new day here. I've sanded the whole thing with 320 and then gone back through and put, you know, dark wood filler on it, because that's all I had and it doesn't really matter. So yeah, now we're gonna get that. I also put a piece of veneer in the right there in the neck pocket to tighten it up a little bit because I like them nice and tight. Yeah, so now I'm gonna sand all this off and hopefully get some primer on it today. Okay, so got all the wood filler in place, sanded, got the pockets sanded so they look better. So, and I also fit the neck here. So before it was a little loose, now it is nice and tight. So, not going anywhere. And yeah, so now it's ready to put some primer on the body. So here's the first coat of high build. It's still drying. But you can see that gonna need to be some edge refinement around the pockets and stuff. But yeah, other than that, here we go. So it is neck staining time and fingerboard staining time. On maple fingerboards, you finish the whole top of the fretboard, which you don't on a rosewood guitar. Usually you just put lemon oil on it. So yeah, I've sanded it a little bit. It actually wasn't too bad. And so I'm going to use some Minwax Natural, same as I did on the Telly. And yeah, and then I'll throw some satin polyurethane on the entire thing, and we should be good to go. The body on this one's going to take the most time because, you know, you got to go through the whole sanding process, and if you want to shoot any kind of good automotive grade finish on it, you've got to have it nice and smooth and sanded way better than if you're just going to put polyurethane on it. So that's what's going to take the time on this build. But right now we're going to put some stain on the neck. This stain's got to dry for about 4 to 6 hours before you can put another coat on if you want to do that, or it's got to dry for 8 hours before you can top coat it. So we'll just let it dry overnight because it's not real warm in here. Okay, it's been about 5 or so, 10 minutes maybe. I wiped off the backside. Looks pretty good. So now we're going to apply to the top. Okay, so I sanded the first coat of primer here. See, broke through the wood in a couple of spots. Got a couple of small imperfections to fill. But other than that, gonna shoot another coat of primer on it and then block that with a little bit finer grit of paper and see what it looks like.